Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, presented by the Business Courier, a leadership shakeup is underway in Cincinnati's nonprofit world. The latest installation for the AllStar game? It's not just big, it's enormous. And the newest taste of Belgium is now open. U.S. Bank Business Watch is next. Good morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Kelly Leon in for Peg Risconi. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, new leadership. All at once, it seems many of Cincinnati's most enduring cultural institutions and nonprofits have new leaders. It's a seismic shift as this generation of directors and chief executives takes over from predecessors who built legacies that in some cases stretched over decades. The 7 institutions highlighted by the Courier are ArtsWave, the Cincinnati Art Museum, Cincinnati Museum Center, Greater Cincinnati Foundation, Mercantile Library, Scripps Howard Foundation, and the YWCA of Greater Cincinnati. With the investment of millions of dollars at stake, these organizations aren't just changing guard, they're changing business. As the influence of social media grows and Cincinnati piles up accolades as a great place to live and work, these entities are striving to become even more a part of the community. For some perspective on the changing leadership, we turn to Dan Hurley, Director of Leadership Cincinnati for the Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber. Dan also announced that this is his last year in that role, so he has some professional and personal perspective to offer this morning. He's in the studio with Business Courier editor Rob Dahmeyer. Rob and Dan?
Kelly, thanks. Dan, thanks so much for being here. You have your own show, so thanks for sticking around for ours. Nobody's more plugged into you, especially with the crowd that Kelly just talked about and these really important nonprofit organizations. Why do you think, what's the spark for all this change we're seeing right now?
Well, I think there's multiple things that are going on. One is generational. Those of us who are baby boomers, and I was born in 1946, so a year from now I'll turn 70. Baby boomers, we maybe tended to work and hold on a little bit longer than people might have expected, but we're stepping down. So in some cases, it's clearing way. And the other situation is that there is an amazing reservoir of really good people in this community. So there are people ready to step up, give fresh energy, fresh perspective to these organizations, and I think the boards of these organizations know that there are succession possibilities, and therefore it's okay to move on.
You talk about local talent. These are, just because these institutions aren't trying to turn a profit doesn't mean they're not businesses, and they are big businesses, and they are critically important businesses. Their boards are filled with some of the most powerful people in the city. What do you think it says about Cincinnati that a lot of these people, a lot of these new leaders were already in town?
Oh, well, first off, there are a couple of these situations where it was a national search that looked all over, and then, for example, in the case of Greater Cincinnati Foundation, hired Ellen Katz from the Children's Home of Cincinnati, 15 miles down the road, because she is the best person. And so there is this reservoir. Secondly, I absolutely agree with you about the business side of this. These are some of the best run organizations. I happen to be on the board of St. Vincent de Paul, where Liz Carter left. It is the best run board I have ever served on in my 40 years of being out in the community.
Wow.
And it is a well-run business because they have these stores that they're selling, that it's social enterprise that is feeding the charitable part of the organization. These are smart businesses put together by smart people. They have a lot of people working for them, paying a lot of taxes, and serving other roles in the community. So these are very important institutions to our society.
And pretty much everybody, I'm going to brag on you for a second, pretty much everybody that we mentioned here came through Leadership Cincinnati, which you run. So, I mean, if you don't know much about Leadership Cincinnati, I know a ton of people who've gone through it, and it's a spectacular program, and Dan's been running that now for, I think, 8 years. So you're stepping down there. Just give us a quick, why now, and what do you plan to do?
My wife and I had talked for some time that we turn 70 next summer, so June 30th next year, it hit me the other day as I was walking out of work. Exactly a year from then, I was going to be leaving the chamber for the last time. But I have reinvented myself so many times. A very good friend of mine says that it's important that you don't retire from something, but you retire to something. And I am committed to understanding what that is. I mean, I know some things. I'm going to write books. I've got 3 books backed up that I don't have any time for right now. There's some very specific things I want to volunteer for in the community. And I'll reestablish Applied History Associates, which I ran for 20 years. I haven't been able to do that work for the last 7. I can do it again.
Well, I have a feeling that we're going to keep hearing from you. 70 is the new 50 anyway, so we'll see what happens. But thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Rob.
And back to you, Kelly.
Yeah, Dan Hurley can never retire. Never. Thanks, guys. Well, the owner of the largest auto dealer group in our area does not have plans to step down, and he's been at it for 40 years. A lawyer by training and an experienced salesman, Robert Rikard struck an uncommonly good deal in 1975 when he bought his first dealership. Rikard changed the name to Kenwood Lincoln Mercury and built it into the region's top auto group with 9 dealerships, including 5 at King's Auto Mall off of I-71. He mostly credits his partners and employees, but also his love of cars for his success.
Oh, I got a lot of cars. I like cars. I drive 3 cars. I have a Mustang, I have a Lincoln, and I have a Toyota Avalon. And why? Because I enjoy variety. I also keep a number of older cars around the house. I got a 57 Chev convertible, and I got a 29 Lincoln, and a couple other old clunkers that I like to drive around in.
Rikard also credits the emergence of King's Auto Mall for his successful company. Without it, he says he'd have a 1 or 2 dealership company. Huntington National Bank has moved its offices to the 525 Vine building from 4th and Walnut Center. The Business Courier recently got a look inside. A big reason for the move is that employees wanted a more collaborative work environment.
Quite frankly, it was a hurdle we had to overcome as well. We came from a very traditional office environment to a much more non-traditional office environment from a historical perspective. But quite frankly, I think the way office environments are going, we're probably a little bit ahead of the curve now.
Huntington will move investment management, private banking, trust, and other employees from its Rookwood Tower office space next spring. Primary Health Solutions plans to open clinics in Fairfield and Hamilton City schools to provide care for students, teachers, and their families. It's a multi-million-dollar effort that will create 15 jobs. Both clinics will provide medical and vision care, and the one in Fairfield will also provide dental care, according to the company's CEO. About $450,000 in startup money will be provided by Interact for Health, the Norwood-based nonprofit. Well, All-Star Week in Cincinnati kicks off Friday, and if you're down around the ballpark, you will not be able to miss the gigantic video screen. Blue Ash-based LSI Industries has finished a quick order to build an enormous video board that the Reds will install outside Great American Ballpark for the July 14th Major League Baseball All-Star Game. You'll find it outside the Hall of Fame, facing the banks.
It is one of the larger ones we have locally. We have, Fountain Square and some others that are larger, but this being a 10 millimeter kind of on the higher res side of things, it is a fairly substantial size screen.
19 feet high and 31 feet 6 inches. Let me say that again. 19 feet wide and 31 feet 6 inches wide, to be exact. The board should be fully installed by tomorrow. We'll have more on All-Star Game activities that you can be a part of a bit later in the program. And the largest Taste of Belgium restaurant is now open at Norwood at Rookwood Exchange. It's the largest of the 3 restaurants owned by Jean-Francois Flachet. It's also located in a more dense location and closer to national chains. Flachet says he is up to the challenge.
We try to elevate it a little bit, and it's more like Taste of Belgium 2.0. It's more of a grown-up version of what we've done in Over the Rhine and in Clifton. We worked with a different team of architects, and the design is kind of an interesting mix of old and contemporary.
The restaurant is well known for its Belgian waffles paired with fried chicken. And not to be outdone by Belgian waffles, a new Krispy Kreme opened in Anderson Township last week. People camped out all night to try to get free donuts. The first person through the door at the Beachmont Avenue store won a dozen donuts every week for a year. The next 99 received a dozen every month for a year. That's a lot of donuts. Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, a big shakeup in leadership at Kroger. And this is one of 7 Cincinnati buildings that is getting some big money for big renovations. Some news now that's getting a lot of attention on the Business Courier web and social media sites. Kroger President and COO Michael Ellis suddenly retired last week. Ellis, who is 57, has been serving in that position since January 2014, when Rodney McMullen vacated those roles to become CEO. A Kroger spokesperson said Ellis retired for personal reasons. Ellis had worked for Kroger and predecessor companies for 40 years. 7 Cincinnati projects, including the planned conversion of the Grand Baldwin building into 176 apartments, landed more than $7 million in Ohio Historic Preservation tax credits. The 7 local recipients, all within the city of Cincinnati, are expected to use the tax credits to help fund more than $61 million in redevelopment. The tax credits help developers rehab historic buildings. For a full list of recipients, see the Business Courier's website. In this morning's U.S. Bank Economic 360, our focus is on commercial banking. Steve Mullinger has been promoted to head U.S. Bank's commercial banking team in the Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky markets. He joined U.S. Bank in 2010 and is involved with a number of local organizations, including the Cincinnati and Blue Ash Chambers of Commerce, Financial Executives Institute, and the Association for Corporate Growth. Steve joins Business Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer in the studio. Rob and Steve?
Kelly, thanks. Steve, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Congratulations on your new role.
Thank you very much.
Just announced it. Tell everybody what your new role is all about, what you're going to be doing.
The best way I can describe the new role is now I get to be the head coach for the commercial banking team. We got a great group of guys and women that supported the Cincinnati community for a long time in terms of the banking services. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun.
Now, the specific wheelhouse really that you're focused on is sort of this mid-sized companies.
Called middle market lending.
So talk about what that
means.
What does that mean? That's something that maybe people outside the banking industry don't
So
know.
everybody talks about how the core of businesses, the small business community, over 80% of the economy's are driven by the small businesses, right? So we serve companies that are in that middle market space, not super small, but with 20 million in revenues up to about 500 million in revenues. And we've done a great job doing that for now well over 150 years. And so I'm just honored that we get to continue to serve this community for a little bit longer.
Is this that's our wheelhouse at the Business Courier too. I mean, our readers typically are coming from exactly sort of the same size companies. You know, P&G is great, and we love that they're here.
Yes.
But our readership really comes more from these shops that are smaller and that maybe even be family owned a lot of times. You know, second, third, fourth generation. How do you get in and get the business for some of these companies, especially in a town like Cincinnati, where relationships are everything?
Oh, it's key. Again, everything's about people. So we have some great people that work with us, and we have even better customers that are very supportive of what we're doing in the community. So when we all come together to help each other, you know, it's like a rising tide, it lifts all boats. So our economy right now in Cincinnati is very good, stable, and growing, which we like. It's like good golf, right? Good golf is very boring, down the fairway, on the green, 2 putts, and in. But, you know, and our economy is like that in Cincinnati. It's very boring, but steady, and we like the space.
And harder to maintain than it looks. So congratulations again on your
Thanks,
new role.
Rob. Appreciate it.
We hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you.
Thanks, Rob and Steve. Still to come on U.S. Bank Business Watch, AllStar Week is just days away. We'll tell you how the city plans to shine and how you can participate in Major League Baseball's big event. In this morning's Business Insight, this Friday, all the talk ends and the action begins. That's when the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game events kick off. An All-Star Fan Fest opens at 9 a.m. on Friday, July 10th, and will be open every day at the Duke Energy Convention Center until Tuesday at 6 p.m. There's also a block party every day from Sunday to Tuesday on East Freedom Way down by the ballpark. On Saturday, June 11th, there's a 5K in the morning and a free concert at night featuring Ariana Grande. On Sunday, it's the Futures game at Great American Ballpark at 3 p.m., followed by a celebrity softball game. Monday is an all-star workout day and the home run derby. And Tuesday, a red carpet show kicks things off at 1 p.m., followed by the 86th Major League All-Star game at 7 p.m. The city is shining bright this week in so many unique ways, and it's taken a lot of hard work and planning. Melanie Chavez is co-chair of the All-Star Game Community Organizing Committee. She joins Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio to talk about how it all came together and what we can expect. Melanie and Jamie?
Thanks for being here today, Melanie.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what the role of this community organization was for the games.
Absolutely. The Community Organizing Committee is really a collaboration between the Cincinnati Reds and the CVB here in town. And we started 17 long months ago. There were 20 of us at that point. At this point, there are over 200 people working on this. And really, the goal is kind of twofold. One is for our residents. When this big event comes to town, we want to make sure that we don't lose sight of our residents. We want them to feel a part of this experience. We want to be able to extend that All-Star experience to as many people as we can. And then on the flip side, during All-Star Week, when we have 200,000 people, within the footprint of downtown, we want to make sure that as a city, we're putting our best foot forward, that we're showcasing all of our regional attributes, and that we allow our guests to really get to know this region.
Excellent. Now, how important do you think this committee is and the role that they're taking with local businesses and the local community?
It's huge. To me, this is a way that our local businesses can actually get involved with this huge event. We're a vehicle, so if they want to showcase their civic pride, they know there's 200,000 people coming. They want to make sure that we really, truly shine. Our Community Organizing Committee is that link, so we allow them a way to participate. We need to augment entertainment downtown. It's going to be a 5-day nonstop party. And you have to have funds in order to do that. So MLB has some wonderful events that are going on, but our group is ensuring, working with 3CDC, DCI, RTN, and some other great groups, is to make sure that as people are strolling 5th Street, 6th Street, 7th Street, no matter what time of day, there's something going on.
Well, I think it's important to note that, while this all revolves around the All-Star Game, it's not about just the All-Star Game. It's about the experience that both our residents as well as guests are going to see when they come to the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much more than baseball. It's about community pride. Yeah. It's about acting together as one. Just within our committee, we have over 200 people who are from every walk of life. You have professional volunteers. You have people that have never volunteered before. You have Northern Kentucky represented, East Side, West Side. So it's really been an amazing experience to be a part of and just to be able to do something that's great for our region.
Well, besides the MLB scheduled games, there's so many things going on over that 4 or 5 days. Tell me a little bit about some of the free things people can go do.
Yeah, so we have 2 items in particular that we want our entire community to show up for. The first is Friday, July 10th, and that will be at Fountain Square. And that is called the Batter Up Bash. And this is truly our community's way of saying, welcome MLB, welcome our All-Star guests. So it's going to start at 5:30. It is very family friendly. DJ, clowns, face painting. We'll have some great All-Star item giveaways, Reds giveaways. And then it'll transition into more of that Fountain Square party where we have lots of surprises.
So good at throwing.
We are. We have lots of surprises. I can't tell you, but 9 o'clock if you're around downtown, you want to be in Fountain Square.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
And then another event, which is also family friendly, is Sunday, Sunday, July 12th. At Washington Park, and it's a multicultural choral celebration.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, Kathy Wade has been very instrumental in this concert, helping pull it together. Laura Gentry as well, Kim Mann. And we'll be out at Fountain Square. Bring a picnic, bring a blanket. Starts at 10 a.m. with an African drum procession.
Fountain Square, you mean Washington Park, right?
Washington Park. It starts with an African drum procession, and then we go into about 6 different choral groups, many of whom participated in the World Choir Games. Wow. So there's a nice nice link there. So it's a celebration of music, celebration of community, and then at the end of that concert, it's about 2 hours, all the choral members are going to come back up to stage and lead the crowd in a rousing rendition, I'm sure, of Taking Me Out to the Ball Game.
Excellent. Yeah. I know we're probably running out of time, but I want to talk a little bit about baseball across the region. Can you talk to me on what that is?
I love baseball across the region. This is like the Olympics, right? So it's the Olympic torch that moves in advance of the Olympic Games. So we have an all-star baseball that's been going throughout the region, and our last leg is going to be on the Roebling Bridge the morning of the all-star game on July 14th. We're so excited. We're going to have about 400 people on that bridge going from Covington over to Cincinnati, and then fingers crossed we're going to have 2 runners who may have just won a marathon here run that from the base of the bridge to Crosley Terrace.
Excellent. And I know there's a lot of photo stations around town as well that visitors and guests and local people can go.
We have 6 all-star photo stations, and all of our residents should try and find at least one. So there's one in Newport on the Levee. It is an ode to the home run derby. So there's 2 bats that are crossed. There's 2 of them in Smale Park. One of them is a greetings from Cincinnati type postcard. They're 6 by 9. These things are huge.
Oh, excellent.
There's one in Washington Park that is an outfield wall. So if you have kids, take your kids and make them take their glove, get a ball, throw the ball, and it looks like they're catching it in Great American Ballpark.
Cool.
So they're wonderful interactive experiences that are truly unique to this city and this all-star game, because our group envisioned them. We worked with the Reds and with MLB for the graphics. Framester helped out.
Awesome.
So it's a nice interactive experience for families to take part in.
Well, I wish we could continue to talk, because I have about 1 million questions about all the things that are going on. But thank you so much, not just for being here today, but for the time you've given us last year with the rest of the committee and getting this organized to make Cincinnati look good.
Thank you.
All right, good luck, and we will see you soon.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jamie and Melanie. And for more on all the All-Star events, because we throw a lot of dates at you, visit reds.com and click on the links for the All-Star game. Should be a great fun week. Thanks for joining us this morning for U.S. Bank Business Watch. We'll be back next Sunday and every Sunday morning at 6:30 here on Local 12 and 10 a.m. on the CW. For more business news all week long, visit the Business Courier online and sign up for our daily emails, and follow on Twitter and Facebook. The address is CincinnatiBusinessCourier.com. I'm Kelly Leon. Enjoy the rest of your July 4th weekend.